Hey everyone, I'm Janelle Fort with Long Story Shorts, where we are digging into the headlines on your social media feeds, and there is no need to swipe. So in today's episode, we've got a wild Texas Rangers giveaway that I know a lot of you will want, plus why movie chain Alamo Drafthouse now wants you to use your phone. But first, let's get to a story that caused some chaos and confusion on Wednesday.
An administration official tells us that Mexican cartel drones breached U.S. airspace. This prompted the FAA to stop any departing or arriving flights from El Paso International Airport for 10 days. It is currently 8:43, and just in the last 45 minutes, though, the FAA lifted that 10-day halt. The full statement from the administration official is here on the screen. It says that the Mexican cartel drones breached U.S. space. The Department of War worked to dismantle these drones, and the FAA and Department of War have determined that there is no threat to any commercial flights. So now El Paso International Airport can proceed as normal. A few things we are working to learn. We don't know why the FAA initially had the halt for 10 days. We also don't know when these cartel drones breached U.S. airspace specifically and when they were dismantled. I am currently at DFW International Airport, where this morning when we first arrived, we saw crews making sure that the board showing departures and arrivals did not have El Paso on the screens, and now they are going to have to reverse that whole thing and put El Paso back on the board, contact customers who were initially disrupted by this halt. We'll bring you updates as we receive them, but for now, it is business as usual.
And Tower American 1525, what is this we're hearing? About a TFR?
Say again?
We heard something about a TFR, about no flying. What's the last guy tried to tell us what was going on, but we are on final.
Oh, yes, there's a TFR going into effect right now in 1 hour at 0630 Zulu, and it's till the 21st, ground stop basically, no air traffic.
Very interesting, okay.
We've got to look into this more and find out what happened, what caused this to occur. This is certainly something that the FAA needs to look at themselves and figure out what did they do and how can they improve to make this better. Because you just cannot, again, we're a major city. El Paso's a large city. You cannot just shut down a city. There was people coming to El Paso. Our airport was in chaos. Our community was scared. All because someone decided to shut down our airspace. You just cannot do that. And they lifted it real quick. So we've got to figure out what the root cause of that problem was.
As organized as a protest gets.
Not cross without the crosswalk.
Dallas ISD students at Booker T. Washington High School walked out Tuesday against ICE.
We need to follow every rule.
Careful to the law.
They are looking for ways to stop us.
Students marched to Clyde Warren Park, while many parents like Angelica proudly supported while watching the children's safety. The voices of students echoed.
Show me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
Even families not with Dallas ISD joined.
I think it's great that they're using their voice.
Charity, who homeschools her daughter Aiden, says this is a moment to learn.
Especially since I'm homeschooled. Since I don't have much to do in my free time, it's like, hey, why not go out and stand for what's right?
Governor Greg Abbott has been outspoken about student protests.
The law of free speech is more complex than that. You don't have freedom of speech to say and act any way you want to, anywhere you want to, anytime you want to.
From his guidance, the Texas Education Agency set new rules.
If kids are skipping class, going out protesting, those schools are not going to be paid for that day.
Students who walk out will be marked absent, meaning schools could lose daily attendance funding. Plus, teachers or schools that support protests will be subject to investigation.
I don't think any punishment would have stopped me from coming out here today and being part of my school doing this.
For Paola, a Booker T. Jr., her cousin was detained and deported.
Him and his wife and his child were here on asylum. They were here legally.
This protest to her is personal.
As children, we should not be scared, but we are.
She is scared, but not silenced.
Make you feel like people aren't watching or even listening. Trust me when I say they are.
In Dallas, I'm Tiffany Liu.
We're in recess. Quit picking on him. You can appeal that too. Do that. You can tell me what it says.
That's a lawsuit. Sue them.
Richardson police are showing us how they deployed a drone to help make an arrest for burglary. A couple of weeks ago, night patrol officers got a report the suspect was at a construction site. When he took off running, officers sent the drone after him.
The construction area, so he's walking towards Arapahoe. He's probably 200 or 300 feet away from that fence now.
You can see several officers running to cut the suspect off and arrest him, and the Richardson PD quickly took him into custody.
A Dairy Queen in Forney is cleaning up after a car crashed into the restaurant this afternoon. It happened off Highway 80 and Pinson Road. Dairy Queen shared surveillance video of the car crashing into the building. You can see customers and employees running for cover there. Fortunately, no one was injured, but the driver had to be taken out of the vehicle. Police are investigating what caused the driver to lose control.
Violent messages, a shot caller, and nearly 80 guns. That is just some of the evidence that was presented in a federal trial involving a sex trafficking ring in Plano. I'm investigative reporter Morgan Young, and this is a list of the 250 pieces of evidence that were presented in the trial for 43-year-old William Garland and 34-year-old Anastasia Lyons. They were both convicted on federal sex trafficking charges after the Department of Justice says they operated a sex trafficking ring in Plano from 2020 through 2023. The department says that they would recruit women off of social media and then force them into commercial sex through beatings, tasers, shot collars, frigid showers, unwanted tattoos, and humiliation. We are still working to get more information about the specific details and the specific evidence that was used in this trial, but I can tell you when I was going through this list, I saw things on here like a shot collar with a remote, multiple tattoo guns with needles and ink, and a phone message that read, "Going downstairs to do pistol whip." I spoke to one of Garland's victims this afternoon, and she told me she's still processing this. She said she really doesn't know how to feel in this situation. As you can imagine, it's been very layered, very complex, and very emotional for her. Garland, Lyons, and 3 other people who actually pled guilty to federal sex trafficking charges are all waiting for sentencing dates. 4 of them, including Garland, could receive a life sentence.
One of the state's top Democrats got emotional with us during an interview the other day. We obviously interview a lot of elected officials for Inside Texas Politics. Sometimes they get animated, sometimes they get defensive, sometimes they try to avoid questions altogether, but rarely do they ever get emotional. And we noticed in our interview with State Rep Gene Wu, who leads the Texas Democrats in the House of Representatives in the legislature, he wiped his eyes a couple times during our interview after I asked him about Democratic priorities for 2026. He said they are affordability and focusing on working families. And then he said this.
It cannot fall solely on Democrats. This is a fight for all Americans, up and down. I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're a Republican, or nothing at all. If you give about this country, then get off your There's no time to say, like, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it the next day, and I'll do it the next week. It is now.
Plainly put, I mean, this is about our careers, our livelihoods. It's our health insurance, it's our pay, how we feed our families. So when we see our company not performing well, we all get concerned.
Eric Harris is the treasurer of the Association of Professional Flight Attendants, which is so concerned that they issued a unanimous vote of no confidence in American CEO Robert Isom to address what they call a relentless downward spiral under his leadership.
We see our competitors blazing ahead of us with innovation and product offerings, whether it's premium seats or customer experience. We're the largest carrier. We should be leading that as well. We should be leading it.
And I think this is a very serious vote. It needs to be viewed as serious.
Travel industry analyst Henry Hartfelt says American Airlines unions recognize the company has fallen behind United, Delta, and Southwest in some metrics, including on-time reliability and premium travel.
It used to set the pace that other airlines measured themselves by. Both as an analyst and as an American Airlines passenger, I'd like to see American return to that level of reliability and quality.
The pilots union voiced its displeasure too, writing that our airline is on an underperforming path and has failed to define an identity or a strategy to correct course. For a response, American directed WFAA to comments made by the airline CEO during its investor conference call on January 27th.
I'm excited about the opportunities that lie ahead for American as we begin to see the benefits of our work in 2026. We expect continued improvement in premium unit revenue, supported by growing demand and increased premium product availability.
A product the airline's major unions say is in desperate need of change. In Dallas, I'm Kevin Reese.
Why doesn't North Texas have a better mass transit system? It's worth asking, given all the controversy over funding DART right now. Set aside New York, Chicago, Boston. Those are much older cities where trains started running in the 1800s. The real turning point was 1964. The Urban Mass Transportation Act provided matching funds to help cities build new rail systems. That's how DC built out the Washington Metro, how San Francisco got BART off the ground, and how Atlanta eventually created MARTA. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars in federal money at what labor and materials cost back then. Those cities then grew up with mass transit, more money, more people, more jobs, but light rail was baked in. It not only expanded with the metro area, sometimes it drove where that development would go. DART wasn't even created until 1983, and the first light rail didn't start running until 1996 at the end of President Clinton's first term.
A stage this big doesn't come around often.
Once in a lifetime, especially for officers.
It's been 32 years since the FIFA World Cup was in North Texas, and this week marks the 4-month countdown from the 2026 event.
FIFA logo's in it, and then there's a soccer ball on top. It's kind of cool.
Senior Corporal Joe Mino says you may see Dallas police officers wearing this now.
We got this badge made and approved so they would have something to commemorate their service.
More than a third of the force already purchased their once-in-a-career badge that benefits the Assist the Officer Foundation.
We did one for the Super Bowl for July 7th.
It's a special accessory.
And then this one.
As the world enters Dallas.
A lot of people, this is their first time in the state, so you want to be a good ambassador for the city.
Between June 11th and July 19th, 100,000 visitors a day are expected in the DFW area. Just at Fair Park in Dallas, the city is planning for 35,000 per day at FanFest.
You're gonna see the police officers out and about, big police presence during FIFA.
Police sources tell WFAA majority of officers will be working during the World Cup on regular duty and FIFA duty, and DPD will receive state and federal funding for the cost of security.
We're excited for FIFA to come.
Big sporting events aren't new to Dallas, but FIFA brings a historic moment for soccer fans.
Yeah, it doesn't happen very often.
As well as the officers tasked with protecting them. In Dallas, I'm Tiffany Liu.
I found out the night before I was going to be on this, so I had to hurry up and get a haircut. I've never been in front of a camera like that, so that was weird. Getting makeup put on my face.
I was going to go get some food right before the Super Bowl. My mom called me. She was like, "I just saw you on the Super Bowl." I'm like, "Oh, what? What you talking about?" She's like, "I'm trying to get the video." She got it. She sent it to me. She said, "Pull over and look at it." I looked. I was like, "What?" I saw me and my teammates on the screen. I was turned. Like I was in the car blasting music on the way back home, ready to watch the game.
Even right now when I think about it, it doesn't even sound real. Like you can't imagine 135 million people. We won 3 rings. It's just a great program, from top to bottom with everything we do. And I think it's a home, it's a family, more than anything.
But it's just a blessing. 100 million people you said seen me. It's a blessing, and hopefully 100 more million people will see me again once I play in the Super Bowl.
From all over the USA, people were texting me, calling me, saying, "I just saw you on the Super Bowl ad," and I was like, I was trying to be like, yeah, it's an amazing opportunity. I'm blessed to have it. But deep down, I was like, man, this is awesome. I'm so glad I got to participate in this.
They were telling us right before we were filming, they were doing our makeup and stuff like that. They're like, hey, there's going to be about 100 to 200 million people watching you. And honestly, nerves didn't really kick in because, in my head, I was like, I got to do my best in front of all 200 million people.
It's my whole family's kind of excited. My friends are texting me on my phone, and my friends from my old school saw it, and my old coaches saw it. It was pretty cool.
You see someone who grew up in and around the same communities you did, make it that far, it gives you the hope, I can do the same thing they did. You just got to put in the work every.
And all right, let's get to some talkers. These are stories y'all are talking about, including how the story of a Texas legend will soon become your next binge-worthy show.
One of the more infamous figures in North Texas history is about to be back in the spotlight. Benny Binion will be the subject of a new show with two big names behind the project. Cole Hauser of Yellowstone fame will play the role of Binion, and Sylvester Stallone's production company is behind the project. Now, there's a pretty good chance you probably haven't heard of Binion. He died back in the 1980s, but if you have heard the name, it's probably related to the Binion's Casino, which he founded in Vegas in the 1950s. But Binion was born and raised in North Texas, and the 2014 book Blood Aces detailed his rise as a crime underworld leader in Dallas in the 1920s and 1930s. Texas Monthly also had a couple deep dives on Binion over the years, including this piece, which detailed how he was charged in 2 different killings in Dallas in the 1930s and walked away with just a suspended sentence on one of them. The other was determined to be self-defense. Binion ended up leaving Dallas in the 1940s for Vegas, just as Vegas was becoming the gambling capital of the U.S. But not long after he got his casino up and running in Vegas, he was charged and later convicted of tax evasion charges back in Dallas. He ended up serving about 5 years in federal prison, but went back to Vegas and kind of stayed a staple of the gambling and poker scene for many years after that. Now Binion's story is about to be back in the forefront, and Cole Hauser, a.k.a. Rip Wheeler from Yellowstone, will be the man to play the character who may not be known or well known now, but back in the day he was as infamous as any figure in Dallas history in that time.
Interesting conversation on Daybreak this morning. So the astronauts headed up to the International Space Station will soon be able to take their iPhones with them. Apparently they couldn't take them before. Now, whether that was because every single ounce that you send up into space is prohibitively expensive or other reasons, I don't know. But pretty soon your astronauts will be able to take their smartphones with them, and maybe that's what they're going to use to get the stunning pictures of Earth that they were able to grab from the space station. But you got us talking on Daybreak this morning about the things that you would most want to take with you if you went up to space. And it turns out there are a lot of things that you might use every single day that you can't take with you when you're up at the space station.
I would definitely want to take my phone. I'm surprised they haven't been able to do that up until now. Is there a reason they can't take their phones, or just kind of one of those rules?
You know, I think there's a weight component. I mean, I think every ounce that you send up in space is like really expensive.
I can see that.
Okay. Well, I guess if I couldn't have my phone, I'd probably bring pictures to look at my family, friends, right? Like memories.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, some of those pictures you see from the space station are breathtaking, but I looked up some of the things they are not allowed to take.
Oh, ready. Hit us.
So no Diet Coke. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do up there. Alcoholic beverages kind of frowned upon. Salt and pepper.
What?
Can't bring salt and pepper because think about how you're going to salt your food in zero gravity. What's that going to do? It's going to go
and then that salt and pepper would get in the instruments and all the
get in their eyes,
components.
right? I don't want to get everywhere. Yeah.
So a lot of things in zero gravity you can't have. Carbonated beverages.
The food's not good. They're not going up there for the food. They're going up there for the science factor, right?
I mean, you need a little hot sauce, a little Cholula, something.
You have to do without that for as long as you're up there.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Hey, everybody. So I want to give a tip of the hat to the Rangers marketing staff because they came up with a really cool idea. They're turning one of the most iconic moments in team history into one of their giveaways this year. And Ranger fans, I want to take you back to 1990. Nolan Ryan was on the hill. Bo Jackson is in the batter's box. Bo hits a grounder that takes a funny hop, and it hits Nolan Ryan right in the lip. And his lip just splits open and starts gushing with blood. And many people will remember Nolan just kind of, uses his jersey to wipe the blood away from his lip. And it was one of those moments that really exemplified the toughness, the gritty nature, just the way that Nolan Ryan went about his work. And it's that indelible image that so many of us have really etched in our brains. And when it comes to the greatness of Nolan Ryan, that's one of the things that comes to mind. Well, somebody in the Rangers marketing department got really smart because on May 29th, of this season, they're going to give away a replica jersey of that bloody jersey. They've created the same splatter pattern of Nolan's blood from that game on this jersey. Yes, it is a gory giveaway, but more than that, it's symbolic of the kind of tough player that Nolan Ryan was. On some nights, it just didn't matter. When the Ryan Express was rolling down the track, it was going to run you over, and there was nothing you could do about it. Double-digit strikeouts, and obviously at his best, there were no hitters. So incredible idea from the Rangers. Great stuff. Kudos to the marketing staff.
Alamo Drafthouse is about to undergo some big changes, and boy, are some folks upset about it. Starting next month, you'll order food and drinks from your phone once the film begins. Now, if you go to the movies at AMC or Cinemark, that's no big deal. But Alamo started in Austin and has the most rigorous anti-device policy in the country. The company says the idea of scribbling your order on a slip of paper and having a server pick it up is outdated, and this will be less distracting and more efficient. Now, we spoke with an employee in DFW who's worried. He says whenever he hears a company talking about efficiency, it could mean fewer hours or lower pay. But Alamo claims no staff cuts are planned. The company says it'll use a dark menu screen to avoid distractions, but some fans say this changes the immersive movie-going experience they love. And one guy on subreddit said, now you're just an overpriced AMC with beer. Ouch.
And that is it for Long Story Shorts. As we leave you, though, we've got some impressive images from around the country. I'll see you later.
Sounds like it's tearing.
That thing, he's just so wrapped up.
You can try tasing them. I don't have a taser, so it's got to be you. Hit him with one dart and see if you can pop him with a second and drop him.
And then grab him? You gonna grab him though? Or do you want to? I mean, the problem is you got to grab him.
That ain't gonna work.
Dude, chill. Oh. I got it.
Grab both antlers if you're gonna do it.
Alright.
Yep. Oh, dude, it's no. Hang on. Chill, bro, chill. I got you. Is that going through it all? Alright, let her book. Great. You gotta be kidding me. Oh.
The volunteers that came, and very few of those people are getting paid tonight, you know, and it's just an amazing spirit, and that's why the people all clapped and cheered, and it was great. It's proud to be from here and live here, and you know, be from this community.